Hello everyone, Phoenix61 here with more Skull and Bones shenanigans, right? So we have too many pieces of 8, it's a problem, right? so, we are actually going to, I did this last season too, where basically we got, we get into the, the farming 8s from the factory situation, like midway to late in the season. And we've got enough that we can kind of mess around and play around with them at this point, right? We've bought kind of everything that we want. From the black market and wherever else, whatever cosmetics and weapons and blueprints that we needed. And so, I just kind of, just for fun, here we are, we're going to look at their helm, and you can see up in the top right, we're over 2 million pieces of 8, right? So we'll go and, just like we did last season, we'll buy 100 of the legacy chests and see what we get out of them. The developers did change how the legacy chests work a little bit. They are, I want to say, better now than they used to be, but you're more, the pool of items within them, it feels like it has shrunk, but the items are probably things that you're more likely to want, right? So always check her, she's got, the black market's always got different stuff, I think every week or so. So always check and buy those things first if there's something you don't have or want. And then I also recommend, if you're looking to spend pieces of 8, we'll do this towards the end of the season too, where we'll do a sort of prep for next season video. So make sure you're following the channel for that. But basically, you do want to buy materials from here if you have excess pieces of 8. So I went in and just grabbed a few just to kind of have them on hand for, my current season happenings, right? But towards the end of the season, you can only carry over 300,000 pieces of 8. So if you find yourself way in excess of that, right, go in and spend your 8s down to get you below 300,000, right? But even just buy materials, even if that's, the only thing you could find any use for, right? So I'm going to go in and clean up my ship's inventory a little bit here, just because when you buy these legacy crates, right, they take up cargo space in your cargo hold. I don't know if I can hold 100 at once, so we may have to do this in 2 shifts here. But yeah, we'll go in and buy Legacy Cache 1. I'm interested if they're going to make like Legacy Cache 2 and 3, or if they're just always going to have it, Legacy Cache 1 and then just update it from one season to the next. But so we'll max out here. So that gave us 44 plus the 20 some that we bought right before. So I think, 45 or 65, 66 or so. Check the cargo hold here. Yeah, 65. So we'll have to buy like 45 more once we're done. But let's start opening these and see what we get. Gunner's Quadrant. Yeah, so this is a major furniture piece, which some of these I'm kind of like, maybe they should be minor furniture pieces, but those are specific scenarios. I'm not interested in Gunner's Quadrant very much. I don't think I have used that on a build. Warhammer, this is a really nice auxiliary weapon though, right? So, and I think this was for sale from the black market currently, right? You could just buy this outright if you wanted it. But this is a good rocket launcher. I think it's maybe a little shorter on range. I don't remember, but like, I like it better because it has more of sort of area effect damage, right? And then we get Dardanel's guns. So I think this might be the only weapon that has the explosive 3, right? So if you're going for an all-out explosive build, these would be the ones to have. Although, alternatively, I personally would prefer the 1,000-year monsoons that are currently available in the black market for sovereigns right now. I like these better. And the reason for that is these also cause flooding and severe damage with this build. So I've done some builds with these in the past. So, if you're interested in more of my Skull and Bones content, I do have a link in the description for my, all my Skull and Bones playlist, right? So, pretty much everything I've put out since season 1 is in there, right? So I've done some builds with these, and I really like these, but yeah, they only have explosive 1, but they have this, flooding and severe damage perk that I think is way better for ship to ship. The Dardanel's guns are probably better for sea monster hunts and maybe structures, but yeah, LeFleur, this is the poison mortar launcher, right? I really like this weapon as well, right? I've had this on my like SAM book, like my fire builds in the past, and people are like, hey, you gotta equip a fire weapon for your ox weapon. I'm like, nah, I like this better, right? So like I like the poison effect, and I like that it removes stamina from enemies, including players, right? So like that's been big for me. I feel like that's a good weapon. Dummy spring loader 1. This is another major furniture piece that I'm like, this should definitely be a minor for like this should be a minor furniture piece, right? Reduces reload time of spring loader weapons by 20% only when stamina is full. Like that's not helpful, right? Like when you're launching stuff, you're using your stamina, right? Like so, yeah. So I think that one should be minor furniture piece, but so like it prevents me from using it, right? Tuning station 1, right? This is a good one for this is a must-have if you're doing a torpedo build, right? I think torpedoes are still maybe a little bit underutilized, underpowered, just because they're, you know, you can only use them against ships, right? And then, you know, they're tough to get hits on, right? So duplicate, another furniture piece that we've already got one of. Endless Requiem. These, I would say these are probably, you know, this is a weapon from Season 2. This was a new, I would say these are the best torpedoes currently, right, in the game. And they're not the strongest, but because they have this homing feature, you're much more likely to actually get hits, right? So it can be tough to hit enemies with torpedoes, let alone like another actual player, right? So, and the homing feature on it isn't great, right? You still have to do most of the aiming work yourself, but it gets to that little extra bit, whereas if like previously you would have just slightly missed, then you'll get those hits, right? So I'm just flying through these until we see something new, right? So rigging station, if you guys are following my channel, you know I love this furniture piece, right? Recovers 1% hull health per second when your hull is less than 20%. So there's a few things that this can be paired with now, especially when it comes to armor pieces specifically, right? So I'm going to take a quick peek and show you see if I can find which ones I'm talking about here in a reasonable amount of time, right? There's a new piece this season. Celestial Dance, no, not that one. Buccaneer's Oath, no, not that one. Here we go, Immortal Vessel, this is the one I'm thinking of. So, this one, if you're about to die, like, right, if you would have died, it makes you invincible, you don't die, and you're invincible for 6 seconds. And this, it says, this effect has an 180-second cooldown, right? That's kind of a long time, but, like, you know, with rigging station, you're going to get some of that health back while you're within that, you know, invincible state. And then Black Prince is another one that I like to actually pair with rigging station, because you get this reduced damage taken when you're low on health as well, right? So like then you can kind of do a build there where it makes you, you know, you might get low on health, but then you're tough to finish off, right? You have that like survivability, right? So Buccaneer's Oath, we just looked at that, but we actually got the drop from the chest here. So yeah, destroying a target, you know, gives them this status effect where you're going to have more weapon damage and better armor for 30 seconds, right? So this was probably good for fighting off hordes of enemies, but other than that, probably, you know, it's kind of a use case scenario. Maybe defend missions, you know, if you really wanted to do a specific build for specific mission types, right? Like that would be good, but otherwise there's, for general purpose use, there's several others that I would pick over that. Storm Open Symphony is pretty cool. So we get this drop, right? So this, you holding brace charges up a sonic attack, dealing 6,000 damage. So this one I actually was using for a while for the sea monster hunts, because, you know, a lot of those, you know, the swimming in water sea monsters specifically, not the like flying dragon fights now. But because they always have one big melee hit, right? And so you're going to use that brace feature while you're taking that hit, and then you would do that damage to them. Wraithful Ward is a similar one where I would say, I don't think this works as good at the sea monsters, but that one releases poison when you brace damage, so that's pretty cool as well. Another dummy spring loader. That's how I feel about that furniture piece. Another one. Oh my gosh. Alright, Storm Open Symphony, fine. You know, this is also probably a good way, like if you're building out fleet ships, right, to just get items to load onto your fleet ships. So if you get, you know, if you're using fleet ships to collect pieces of 8, like automatically, Like, you know, you could, anything in here that you got you didn't like that you could just throw on those fleet chips to bring their levels up. Twin winch ballista, this is a good ballista. But I still have like a gripe with ballistas and the sea fire weapons too. I feel like, you know, they've added some furniture pieces this season that can kind of help buff these a little bit. Both ballistas and sea fire weapons. But like I still feel like they're a little underpowered. And specifically with ballistas, I feel like they should do some sort of bonus damage to like sea monsters and dragons and stuff, and they kind of really don't. But like that would be like so cool if like that was the weapon to use for sea monster fights, right? Like if you had to use that in your build, or at least like got an extra damage buff against them, right? So a Black Prince, I'm a huge fan of this armor piece. Reduces damage taken by 40% when your hull is less than 33%, right? So if you're getting low on health, you're going to get a damage against you nerf. And then if you had a rigging station, you'd get some healing too within that low health range too. It's a little bit different, but yeah. I can't say the name of this weapon. Fuel, yeah, but this is a pretty cool concept. I did try to, I think I had a video out from last season when this came out, trying to use these. I think they would be good for like hordes of enemies, but other than that, I felt like they were a little underpowered, right? So the idea there is if there's several enemies by you, you shoot one, and then ricocheted rounds will go and damage other enemies, but it just didn't feel worth it. That just felt like other weapons were significantly better, right? So I wasn't sold on those. More Dardanelles guns, another Buccaneer's Oath. We're going through here pretty quickly. Dummy spring loader. So the next thing I'm going to do, so I'll buy some more, I'll buy whatever it was, like 44, 45 more of these chests so that we can do 100 just to kind of see what the loot pool looks and feels like after opening 100. But I think you're seeing a pattern here at this point. Some of getting a lot of duplicates of these, some of these furniture pieces that I just am not a big fan of, right? I think the tuning station, like that's a good one if you're playing around with torpedoes, right? So I need to do a new torpedo build video just because I haven't done one since season 1, and there's new torpedoes and new stuff out like since then, right? But so, you know, what I'm gonna do, we'll open some more, and then I'm gonna guess that the loot is gonna look very, very similar to what we're seeing here. But it's not a complete waste at this point, because now at the blacksmith you can break stuff down for raw materials. So we'll actually get, you know, some of these ones where I've got just an overabundance. I'm never going to use, you know, 10 tuning stations, right? Like I'll use one if I make an actual torpedo build, and then that's all I'm going to need, and then maybe some more for like fleet ships, right? But yeah, we'll take some of these and break them down at the blacksmith and see what kind of drops we're getting as far as materials, because I've broken a few things down before where I've just had several of them and I'm like, I'm not using these items, and I've gotten some decent, you know, recycled drops or, you know, breakdown, you know, materials. So we'll take a look and see what that looks like when we break down, you know, like say 10 of these tuning station furniture pieces, to kind of give you an idea of like what you can actually get out of that as well. Yeah, man, more Gunner's Quadrant. Like these are just ones I just don't care about. Dummy spring loader. It's like it knows. It's like it knows what I'm less like. Like the Warhammer is probably my favorite item that dropped, and I only got one of those, but yet I got 10 or what, 11 of those torpedo furniture pieces, right? So what did we need? 40 some more? We'll do 41. I can't remember now. I can't remember how many we originally had, but we're close enough, right? Math is hard. All right, Waithful Ward. Like these are all good pieces, right? So I do think that these are better than they were before, but they've definitely removed quite a few things. Like there were a lot of like blue rarity items that were dropping in here. You know, I think you could get like Zamzama 3s or Moon's Meg, right? Those were the ones that were dropping last season, right? So they're definitely putting the higher end stuff in the legacy cache now, you know, this season than what they had before. But I think they probably could have left some of the other things in there that are like, you know, like they could have left like Skurlock's Long Nines or like Rama's Legacy Torpedoes. Like there's some stuff they probably could have left in the loot pool, but I think their focus here is like specifically like seasonal release type items is what it's looking like to me. So, which is fine. Although rigging station was one from the start. That's one from season 1. Like, I can't remember how you originally got that. If you were able to craft it from the start, or if you had to like get it from Smuggler's Pass. I can't remember, but like that's one that I feel like has been around always, and that's included in the loot pool here. So, yeah, doesn't look like we're gonna get anything new. We did get one more Warhammer though, so that's cool. Yeah, I am using the Warhammer on my my battle junk build right now. So the new ship, the tank, you know, the new tank ship. What do you call it? Tank class ship, right? So I do have some videos out there with, you know, maxed out battle junk. So go check that out. I'm pretty happy with that build. I don't think I've changed it at all. Maybe tweaked a couple furniture pieces since I made that video, and then there are a couple new. You know, there are a couple new weapons that are still yet to be released for this season at the time I recorded this video, so we may change that. I think I was interested in the Phoenix Talons cannons that are releasing this season, so those I might swap those out of the front of my ship, because right now I've got Zama 3s. Yeah, man, more dummy spring loaders, jeepers. Alright, Buccaneer's Oath, fine. Alright, we're gonna go see what it looks like to dismantle some of these at the blacksmith and see what kind of materials we get, because I do think you can get some of the good stuff, if you know what I mean. Another gunner squadron. Alright, last one. Gunner squadron. Like, pick my least favorite thing and give me that for the last drop, right? Alright, so we've got a lot that we can go and destroy here and see what we get. So previously your only option was to sell, you know, unwanted weapons and furniture pieces, and which was fine, but like silver is not an issue for me, since, you know, you can go through the process of, you know, helm materials and products and sell those. So yeah, so now we can, I always forget, it's called salvage items, right? So yeah, Buccaneer's Oath, I don't need 11 of these. Let's salvage 7 and see what we get. So over on the right is where it's dropping. Ooh, dry casting sand. Ooh, sinew string too. That's a good drop. Everybody needs sinew string for, you know, that's a big one for upgrading ships for the most part. Ooh, an orca intricate apparatus. That is a good one too. But, like, I had to, I dismantled 3 or 4 of those, right? So, Wraithful Ward, we'll do 7. Alright, we're getting Plague Dust. So, yeah, some of these things are kind of linked to that specific item, right? Like, those are La Peste type materials, right? So, that's kind of interesting. But that would be a way to get some of those without farming La Peste so much. Alright, some decent material drops there. Alright, well, I don't have too many of these other ones. Let's see here. Well, yeah, Spiked Warhorn. We'll do a couple of those. Yeah, just some. Yeah, so the higher level of, you know, item that you just, you know, that you salvage, the better stuff you're going to get. We'll do 11 of these. Gunner's Quadrant. Planetary Gear Set. Purified Saltpeter. That's good. Torsion String's fine. Do some of these rigging stations. We'll get rid of 11 of these. Plate glass, wood pitch, worm drive. That's good. Okay, that was decent. Alright, here's a good one. I should just do them all, but yeah, we'll keep a couple. Planetary gear set, worm's breath there. Another orca intricate apparatus. But yeah, like, I wouldn't say this is an efficient way to get those types of materials, because yeah, we salvaged 11 of those and got 1, you know, like, so that's a pretty low drop rate, right? But Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. That really does help me out a lot, right? And if you're interested in more of my Skull and Bones content, check the link in the description to the playlist, right? We've got lots of videos out, and there's more on the way, so we'll see you next time.